We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers, get them out of our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House on November 5th, 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before. We will make America great again. Thank you very much, Iowa. Thank you.
There you have it. Eric Trump joining us tonight to talk more about this. Sir, it's good to have you on. We're watching our country collapse as Joe Biden continues to feed this country the poison pill of Obama's ideology. Today, I think, begins the process of taking it all back.
Yeah, listen, Rob, I think exactly that. I mean, just an hour ago, I'm sure you're probably breaking the news right now, but, we had a U.S. ship get missiled off the coast of the Middle East. I mean, we've literally a country in decline. We've got wars in Israel, wars in Russia and Ukraine. China obviously wants to go into Taiwan. We've got a nation, economy-wise, it's in decline. You have inflation that's massively outpacing wage growth. People are getting crammed down. There's a war on civil liberties in this country. There's a war on our Constitution, First Amendment. People in our nation are being censored. There's a war on religious liberty. Go on. And, again, I talk about this all the time, but it seems like the Democrats, the only thing they're focused on is, what bathroom to use and whether or not men should be able to swim in, women's, NCAA, college finals. And, while literally the whole world is crumbling around us, and it's incredibly sad. I mean, my father built the greatest economy this country's ever seen, lowest, inflation, lowest unemployment in every single category, women, minorities, African Americans, youth. Peace in the Middle East. We didn't have a single serviceman die in Afghanistan the last 18 months of his presidency. He ended ISIS. He created, again, that peace in the Middle East, the Golan Heights in Israel, the Abraham Accords, moved the embassy. I mean, so many different things, domestically, right to try, the biggest tax breaks ever. He built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of southern border. We had the southern border under control. Now it looks like we'll have 15 million illegal immigrants, of which we don't know who these people are. Flood into our country, and so many other problems. And America, and especially Iowa, they just want our country back. They just want greatness back. They want our country restored. And I think that's why you're going to see a great victory tonight. I really believe in my heart.
Yeah, a time when the media had to manufacture the problems for this country because we were doing so well in those years, especially before we got nailed by COVID. You're with your father a lot in Iowa. How do people sound? When he comes in the room, when they talk, I mean, it feels like a lot of the energy around him is certainly back.
Well, it was interesting. I was here last week. I was doing a bunch of events all over the state, and in every place I went, I had 300-400 people, and I had people coming up to me, "Sir, you have exponentially more people coming to see you." And remember, Rob, I'm not in the ticket, right? I don't want to be in politics. I have zero desire to do that job, but they're coming up to me saying, "Sir, you have exponentially more people than DeSantis just had at his event." So I don't know if that's any indication. I'd say really good. I mean, the enthusiasm has been incredible. Everywhere you go, you see, Trump signs. You have people who are literally bringing their kids with American flags. I mean, this is real enthusiasm. You have people painting their barns to say MAGA on them. I mean, if you're going to go through the effort to spend a week to paint the side of a massive barn, that says Trump on it, I imagine you'd go out and caucus. And, I mean, people are upset what's happening in this country. I mean, they feel like they're left behind. You have, the Democrats who always call states like Iowa the quote-unquote flyover states. You remember that, brilliant line by these people. And, people just want somebody, more than anything, Rob, people want somebody who will be a cheerleader for the United States of America. We don't have a cheerleader. I mean, these people hardly show up to the office. Half of the White House is still, work from home, while, people work 2 and 3 jobs just to, literally, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand all of that. I mean, we see it. I mean, it's still amazing to me that this administration is running this country because they're doing such a poor job at it. I want to ask you about Nikki Haley. Obviously, she's the darling at this point. She's got all the buzz around her. The media is being very, very sweet to her, which they always do when they're trying to push an agenda. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, listen, look at her donors, right? I mean, if you want to know who Nikki Haley is, just look at her donors. Half of her donations have come in, and you were just talking about it right before I came on, half of our donors are literally coming from Democrats right now. The other ones are coming from the Rhino Republicans who despise my father and everything that he stands for. So, if you want to know who supports her, and then, by the way, the fact that NBC and the liberal media is literally propping her up every single day probably tells you all you need to know about her. And what I will say is every single time the wind blew one direction, she would change with it. When she was when she was at the UN, and it was disappointing for me to see. She comes out and says, Mr. Trump, you're the greatest president. Mr. President, you're the greatest president we've ever had.
Yep.
I'd never run against you. Sure enough, she runs against him. I'll never change the retirement age. I'll never change it from 65. And sure enough, then she comes out, I want to change it from 65. I'll never impose a gas tax. And she comes out and says, I want to do a 10-cent gas tax. I mean, go down the line. It's why can't more people be like Donald Trump, where they just actually have some backbone and damn conviction, and just say what they believe, and stop basing it off of political operatives and the tide of the day.
Yeah, well said. I want to bring up one final topic, just because I thought it was probably the soundbite of the day. Fani Willis, prosecuting former President Trump in Fulton County, Georgia, is now playing the race card while addressing the fact that we found out that she's paying $650,000 to her new boy toy, a guy who's deeply unqualified to handle the case. He's doing most of the work. Here is Fani Willis speaking about it from over the weekend.
You cannot expect black women to be perfect and save the world. The Lord is completing us. We are not perfect. We need your prayers. We need to be allowed to stumble. We need grace.
What a card. I mean, what a goes anywhere, does anything. That's amazing, isn't it?
Well, the other thing is, there were reports this weekend that, her quote-unquote boyfriend literally billed in one 24-hour stretch, 24 hours of legal time, meaning, he worked for 24 hours straight. It's a ridiculous number, right? Yeah. It is crazy. But, Rob, we're seeing it all over the place, right? Look at Letitia James in New York. They've literally weaponized the entire thing. I mean, that was their play to get my father out. Let's weaponize DAs and AGs around the entire country. First, they tried the Russia thing. That didn't work. Then they tried to impeach him. That didn't work. Yeah. Then they tried to go after Kavanaugh. That didn't work. And take out Supreme Court justices. Now let's weaponize every DA and AG in far, far, far left areas where we have radical judges and juries that they can otherwise control with lunatics like this, and then when that looks like it's all breaking down based on clips like the one that you just played, let's take him off the ballot in Colorado. Let's take him off the ballot in Maine. America sees through this stuff. Americans are really smart. Like, they get exactly what these people are doing. They're not, they're not shocking anybody at this point. People are sick and tired of the nonsense, and if anything, it just propels my father further in the polls, Rob. And it's amazing. But she's a real beauty in Georgia. And Georgia should be embarrassed by her, and I think they are. I truly think they are.
Yeah, it'll be the great irony when these people realize that they helped shove him into the lead, and hopefully help propel him back into the White House. So when this is all said and done, that'll be the great sweet revenge.